sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Also see us in MomoCon in May. More updates will be pinned to my Twitter. Sometimes I watch a Karen video and think, damn, I need me a freak like that. In the early 2000s, console gaming was mostly about complex 3D titles with long campaigns. Unless it was a compilation of oldies, 2D retro-style gameplay was near non-existent in the 6th generation, except for the Game Boy Advance. During that era, this was the last bastion of quick 2D gaming, both old and new. So, let's cover some of them. The strange, colorful, or classic games. I'll revisit this system again eventually, so post what GBA titles I should cover next. It's just jam time.
A new opponent is ready to face you.
A 2-liter bottle of Shasta and my all-Russian mixtape. Let's rock.
Kid Paddle, based on a French comic strip about some delinquent kid. I've never heard of it, and yet I'm playing this somehow. Don't ask how that works. Here's the European exclusive tie-in. It doesn't look too special, just a cheap minigame collection. Oh, what? Huh? What? Wait, I thought this was a kid's game. No, hold on. It is? Ages 7 and up. Yeah, Europe just don't give a damn. Context-wise, I've been told the comics are about this troublesome kid who sometimes fantasizes about slaughtering aliens in a video game. That's what I'm playing, except it rips off Dig Dug, Pac-Man, or Space Invaders. Albeit with more violence and chunkier controls. There's more deranged things to do, like this challenge where you have to let these aliens get eviscerated by the buzzsaw. Their lives are not worth saving unless they're an exact match to the image above. A commentary on our society. The next game has this alien falling, and by shooting him, you'll bounce him upwards towards these death traps. Depending on the request of the icon on top, you gotta kill him in a specific way, whether it be spikes, electrocution, or bombs. It's like a frickin' manhunt game. You could follow the request of your sadistic director, or you could toy with the corpse and chip away at its husk till it's nothing but chum. These aliens don't even fight back. This is just torture. The whole game is a red flag for any child that played it. There's also more gross out minigames where you're a fly eating turds, or one that I don't even want to show you, but it's Tetris, except with green and brown turds. I have had enough. Is that all this game for 7-year-old children has to offer? Hey, what's that on the main menu? Mini-sex. Mini-sex?
Call 911 now!
Call the police! Horrible! Horrible! Worse than Friday the 13th Part 2!
Wade Hixton's Counterpunch, a game named after the Wade Hixton, a pro boxer who does not exist. You ain't gonna fool me this time. Remember that asshole football player from King of the Hill? Yeah, he does not exist either. Sorry to rip that band-aid out. Whatever. So, in Wade Hixton, you play as the title character whose car broke down and has to pay for repairs by plasma donations. Boxing. Exactly like Nintendo's Punch-Out, you gotta dodge and strike at the right time. Button mashing is not an option. It puts up a strong challenge with the final boss who kills you in 2 jabs.
1, 2.
You could call this a Punch-Out clone, but it adds plenty of new features to evolve the formula, like a hub map. Here you can choose who to fight, chat with NPCs, pay for upgrades, or bribe the right people. Wink wink. Is a boxer giving you trouble? Just slide a few dollars to the mechanic and he'll toss a wrench at the opponent's fragile skull.
Street rules, man.
You can even pay a waitress to use her seductive charm to distract your rival, causing them to grow a 16-inch boner live in the ring. Hot damn. Her seduction even works on the only female boxer here, so confirmed lesbian representation. Though the girl's flashy raver stage is a pain on the eyes, thankfully this Kim Possible My Dad the Rockstar art style is gorgeous in 16 bits. 32 bits. Maybe the biggest holdup is the game's about 2 hours long. There's some extra challenges like beating a boxer in 20 seconds, but you only got one chance, plus the instructions on what to do are on screen for like 2 seconds. Hope your reading comprehension skills are up to snuff. Literacy is tougher than any Dark Souls boss. Wade Hixton's Counterpunch is available on the Game Boy Advance and the Digiblast, this preschool device. I've been told this port was made without the developer's knowledge. From what I've seen, it's a 2D handheld, yet in the commercials they use footage of the 3D console versions of these games. That ain't right. Moving on, if you want Punch-Out on the go and with its own flavor of comedy, Wade Hixton has enough improvements to match up against Nintendo's underutilized franchise. Trust me on this.
1, 2, 3, knockout! You win!
If you were to ask middle school me what influenced his terrible sense of humor and made it so everyone was tired of his bullshit, well, I got the right answers. It was all thanks to stupid web videos, the anime Bo and Wario Ware mega micro games, the pop teen epic of gaming. You play minigame collections? Well, here's a microgame collection. A gauntlet of challenges you gotta do in about 5 seconds. There's no time to think, just act. Let God take the wheel and crash that shit like Stefan Eriksson in a new Ferrari. Too soon? Within WarioWare, you can select either him or one of his stoner friends with their own themed minigames, which never made much sense to me. Like this disco guy, Jimmy T, you'd assume music would be his theme, but instead it's sports? There's no way this man can throw a football.
Come on, party!
That's not a sport! Or Mona, the pizza girl. Hers should be food, right? Well, instead it's just strange stuff in general, not very specific. One of the few appropriate themes was for this kid named 9volt. Games themed around vintage Nintendo, which he loves. I want to believe this was some sort of propaganda to make retro titles cool to kids. It worked for me! 9volt's microgames mostly cover the NES era and even those weird toys Nintendo sold before switching to video games. Also unlockable is the ability to play Dr. Mario and Sheriff Arcade. That's Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto's first character he ever created for Nintendo, except now with Wario slapped on. Well, in-universe, Wario is a game developer and I guess decided to mod existing titles with himself in it. Eat my ass, Miyamoto. These are almost the same game, but the playfield is much smaller and no multiplayer or extra music. But it's a pretty generous throwback. Oh, and before you ask about the cast again, no, as the first installment, Ashley, the witch girl, is not in this game. Wise man once said, never trust anyone obsessed with Ashley. Wow. Not even me. So how did the developers come up with such an odd series like Wario Ware? Well, we gotta go back to the year 2000 with Mario Polygon Studio, released to the Nintendo 64's Disk Drive add-on. Two things that never left Japan. Polygon Studio was a sort of sequel to Mario Paint. You create some polygonal freaks and put them through terrible interactive trinkets only future serial killers would ever play. Within Polygon Studios, there was also a small selection of minigames to play in a very familiar format. Yeah, looking familiar? Many of these were reused 4 years later in Wario Ware. A small team at Nintendo's R&D division thought this was perfect for a full game, but they just needed a mascot to represent it. Somebody stupid and idiotic. Perfect, but why would Nintendo approve such a dumbass game with gross-out humor? That doesn't really fit the brand. That's why the crew developed this in secret. Once enough progress has been made, they pitched the unconventional title to the then current manager of Nintendo's R&D division, who reacted with a blunt, okay. Apparently he wasn't surprised, he was just whatever about the premise. And that's how we got the Wario Ware franchise, which I swear I'll cover the rest in some other video. We got more GBA games to talk about. So let's say you're playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the one on the Wii because you hate yourself, and then this jerk shows up. This assist trophy creating a spinning platform that obstructs the stage. The heck is this thing? Well, released only to Japan and Europe in 2001, it's the aircraft from Kururin. Careful with that abbreviation. No idea why the US was excluded. It's a pretty understandable concept. You handle this ship that's constantly rotating and you gotta reach the end without touching the edges. It's a bit like Monkey Ball, where it's a cutesy game and each level takes about a minute to beat, but it's gonna be the hardest minute of your life. Oh geez. Oh geez. This game does not fool around despite how adorable it is. You play as a bird who has to find his lost siblings hidden in these passages, so no. He could easily fly through these narrow halls, but he chooses to use this jumbo-ass ship that'll Austin Powers itself into every wedge. Why does the bird need a ship? Perhaps it was an impulse buy and he just had to justify the purchase. Does this damn ship need to keep spinning? It's like the stupid impractical vehicles you'd find in some horrid steampunk novel only a boomer nerd would read. Go watch your Battlestar Galactica on the Sci-Fi Channel, you boomer nerd. Not only does this game feature the best animals of all time, birds, but it does have the most important feature out of any game, cosmetics, which given how pixelated the rotating sprites look, a lot of these can resemble jumbled garbage. Utterly disgusting, and so too are the repulsive color choices. Most of these cosmetics just look crusty, except for Energy Sword. So you can see why I enjoyed Kururin. It did get a few sequels, but America never got to play them either. Well, actually, the GBA game I just covered did release here 15 years later on the Wii U's Virtual Console, which, again, means no one played it. Straight up, I am the only person in the US who has ever played Kururin. What an honor. We'll be back with more GBA games after this. Are you tired of this happening, especially around the holidays? Well, you need Surfshark VPN. Yes, sir, the sponsor of tonight's video. What's a VPN? It's great. It changes your internet region and protects your privacy. You got Netflix, just switch regions and bam, you can see what other countries have on their Netflix. It's that easy. How about something to keep you safe, especially on public Wi-Fi? Nothing can stop you. Use the code RebelTaxi to get 83% off with 3 extra months. Don't like that? You got a 30-day money-back guarantee. Oh, what? You got an incognito window on your browser? Wow, that's completely useless. Surfshark VPN. It's got clean web. This thing will block malicious ads, trackers, and malware. Don't trust an internet provider, trust Surfshark VPN. Use the code RebelTaxi to get 83% off with 3 extra months. You got a 30-day money-back guarantee, VPN. I may be desperate, but I got no time for women, or so I say. I'm a Sigma male, and this is Sigma Star Saga, a very original RPG. One half of the gameplay has you walking around, shooting aliens, solving puzzles, but the other half is these random battles. Are you expecting some turn-based combat? I don't play that shit. No, actually, battles are going on in the galaxy and you're warped into the front lines of any random ship. Each with different sizes and speeds, you have no choice in that matter. But thanks to the RPG elements, you can bring along your upgraded health, damage stats, and also your custom weapon loadout. Choose up to 3 attributes. You can do anything from triple spread shots, firing backwards and forwards, a rotating turret to aim, anything, even bouncy ball bullets. There's points where I think, okay, my weapon loadout is already at its peak, but it just keeps proving me wrong. I love this cycle of gameplay, but the mobility on these top-down sections feels so stiff with the jumbo-sized characters. I really don't care for searching all around the map, but those space battles frequently interrupt you with no warning. The space combat's great, but please let me finish the on-foot missions first. Unlike typical RPGs, you cannot escape combat, and some of these battles will start you off by taking damage before you're given control.
Bullshit! That is bullshit, Frank!
Oh, and hope you didn't grind too much, because if you die, you lose all that XP and you're back to your last save spot, which is usually far away, back at your ship. Saves are incredibly sparse. Thankfully, I'm emulating this with my own save states and a fast forward for long travel. Is it cheating? Yes, though emulators apparently struggle with this game. Personally, the only issue I notice are the glitched visuals in the opening stage, so it's forgivable. Sigma Star has a ton of imperfections, but I'm having a great time with the game and story. You play as the young hotshot Earth soldier Ian Wrecker, a worn-out pilot surrounded by his comrades either dying in battle or living long enough to become Starship Trooper-style frat boys, exactly as Harvey Dent predicted.
You want to thank me? Name your next fighter after Sigma Team.
Or after you, the Wrecker 3000!
I never liked you much.
Oh. During the conflict, Ian gets captured by aliens who implant him with this living parasitic armor that resembles a preschool toy minus the lead paint. It's like an Ava unit mixed with an Alien 9 helmet. That was the original Monica. To survive, you gotta work for the invaders. This means killing your own kind. With the lug-headed Earth soldiers, part of me was expecting this to be the aliens good, humans were the real villains, but oh no. In this war, nothing is that black and white, because the art style is deceptively colorful. Morals are ambiguous, while Ian's actions will lead to those around him being either tortured or executed. It's quite the somber storyline. The only oasis of joy this guy has are these 2 girls, a purple chick and some human woman, I don't care. But yeah, the alien, Syme. Can you tell this was made by Shantae developers Way Forward?
Ooh, they sure don't make them like that on Earth.
With the sometimes predictable romance of an emo boy and alien, Sigma Star Saga has the right kind of hamminess. This could have been better remembered had they fixed up the pile of nitpicks. It's baffling Way Forward hasn't taken another crack at this game, though maybe Namco owns the rights to it as a publisher. There's a surprisingly conflicting story here and a great concept that deserves more.
for 3.
Try or die! Go for broke!
By 2002, every fighting game from Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter got a GBA port. Ambitious, but obviously there were some downgrades. Less frames, less buttons, and weaker graphics. It ain't so bad if you love those deliciously crusty Tekken sprites. But what about a brawler built specifically for the system? Well, here's Black Belt Challenge.
Ready? Fight!
Eco Tiger.
It's typical and doesn't have too many special moves. One unique gimmick is the meter on the bottom corner. You see those randomized buttons listed? Memorize them, because at any point you can uppercut your rival into the heavens, where each input you recite creates extra damage and eternal salvation. But one mistake and you're rejected from the pearly gates, much like my Catholic upbringing. I ain't apologizing for my gay thoughts. The more buttons you memorize, the better, though the space to push them is so precise. It's weirdly difficult while everything else is too easy. Unless you crank the settings to max, everything below just has the opponent hopping around with the occasional smack. It's a very 0 to 60 difficulty. I've been told the programmers were not very savvy with fighting games. At least it's super colorful. Much like how Donkey Kong Country took 3D models and made 2D sprites out of them, Black Belt does the same. My contact tells me the actions were drawn in 2D, then recreated in a very stiff 3D animation. The faces also looked horribly compressed, so he had to redraw over them in 2D. Oh, but here's something interesting. This fighter here, Stalfeder, looks a bit familiar, as the very next franchise these developers made were Killzone and Horizon Zero Dawn. So wait, did the Hellgas from Killzone originate from this fighting game? I asked Black Belt's character designer / Horizon's mech designer, Dennis Zopfi, who confirms... No. Damn it. I will give you $20 if you lie about it. Really, this guy was inspired by sci-fi soldiers like the one in the manga Jinro. And no, the Hellgas were not inspired by Jinro, it was a coincidence. Dennis also confirms the art was influenced by Mega Man Legends, which I could tell given those fish eyes on the robot designs. They also wanted to make it resemble Pokemon, what with the eye-catching European box art. Unfortunately, America got this other box art. Wow, I've probably seen that on a shelf and have had zero interest in it. I guess if you had a microscope or the Waifu 2X, you can make out the cool lineup. But going back to the roster, my main is Rana, this girl from the Netherlands who uses weapons based on tulips, windmills, and rolls of cheese. If you're either lactose intolerant or Don Quixote, your days are numbered, motherfucker. It's also cool since the developers, Guerrilla Games, are based in the Netherlands, probably wanted a rep for their country. I myself have been there, in Amsterdam. It was the most lovely place I've ever been to. Oh my god, the tulips, the fog in the morning, the amount of soft drugs and prostitutes readily available, it was amazing! Now, I gotta thank Dennis for handing me so much concept art he had saved. Plenty of sketches for the existing characters and some alternate versions like the final boss Nova here. There's even an unused character, Akemi, a kendo teacher. Her in a lot of stages weren't used due to cartridge limitations, like this factory creating a line of robots. Also, the rooftop stage we did get was intended to have a giant monster progressively smashing up the city. But yeah, that's too much data for the Game Boy to store. Oh, and to close off the roster, there's 3 secret characters: a chicken, a cat, and a chicken leg. They have no special moves or dash abilities. Look at them. Look at them. Freaking unstoppable. So fun fact, originally the game was titled Fire Eaters, Book of Zero, since the goal is to collect these pages that'll grant the user one wish. Whether it be becoming a wrestler, a circus star, or with the Netherlands girl, conquer Earth. I love her. Unfortunately, Fire Eater's Book of Zero was changed by the US publishers. They wanted something more fightery sounding, and we got Black Belt Challenge. Ugh. Colorful game, standard, but at least it played to the handheld's limitations. It's good to see the developer made far more successful games after, but they're not cartoony, so I don't play that shit.
You did a great job, Street Fighter.
Hey, you got any of those Aqua Teen scripts? We're gonna be watching any Brack shows today?
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Hey, yogurt.
Urban Yeti for Game Boy Advance. Get your own.